Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
I'm Carol Massar, along with Tim Stedovic. Let's get to some stocks on the move. With us is Bloomberg News equities reporter and deputy team leader for U.S. equities, Carmen Reinecke. She is in the house. Hi.
Hello.
Let's start with Trade Desk. You're looking at this one.
Yeah, so this is ticker TTD, Trade Desk. It's up 20% right now. This is the best day in about 10 months. So there's a report from the information that OpenAI is potentially in talks with the Trade Desk to sell ads for OpenAI. And this is something that's just could really reinvigorate positive sentiment around the company. So Bloomberg Intelligence said that it could revive sentiment amid a shaky fundamental backdrop. Although they also note that the deal is unlikely to be a game changer. There's sort of some uncertainty around if it's actually going to come to fruition, though other analysts are also saying this would be really positive, and it's definitely a positive headline for the stock.
Wait, so it's like, hey, ChatGPT, I've got this and this in my refrigerator. What can I do? And now we're going to have an ad? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't this is what they've talked about, right?
Yeah. And, well, I mean, we asked
others.
a former OpenAI person back in September about this, and she wouldn't, she wouldn't rule it out.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, if you remember back to the Super Bowl, the ad that Anthropic had, where it was trying to differentiate between an LLM, and they didn't name ChatGPT, but it was clear what they were doing, that would have ads and the experience there versus one that wouldn't. This is the whole thing. But look, you got to make money somehow.
At some point, the balance sheet, right? It's got to go from red to green. All right, let's get to a name that we talk about all the time.
Yes. Yeah, so looking at Nvidia today, and also just sort of the broader semiconductor space, shares of AMD are also down. So Nvidia's down 1.5%. This is off the lows of the day, but still a significant drag on the index. AMD down about 3.2%. So basically what we're seeing is the U.S. officials have written a draft regulations that would restrict AI chip shipments anywhere in the world without U.S. approval. So this would obviously be a major curb potentially on where these companies could sell their chips, could potentially hit revenue, would be a big hit for their businesses if depending on where approval is given and not. So seeing that whole sector kind of weigh on the broader market today.
I just feel like the headlines around this change so much.
I agree with you.
And it's like if your job is at NVIDIA to figure out where you're allowed to sell things and what you're allowed to sell and how much?
You know what we can
You're
bank,
busy.
You know what we can bank on?
What?
Guess who's going to probably make a visit to the White House?
Jensen?
I'm thinking.
Okay, all right.
Like sometimes that happens, right?
You're just guessing.
I'm just guessing.
Okay.
No, headline. I'm just saying we see leaders when things get a little sticky head to the White House. I want to point out, who's not lower in the chip sector is Broadcom. That one's rallying. And they're trying to go after NVIDIA's business. So interesting to see that trade. One more for us, ticker UNF.
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting one. It's UniFirst. It's up 16% right now intraday, and it's on track to close at the highest since 1983. I think that's a record. So basically, Cintas Corp has been in advanced talks to buy this company, which is a uniform maker. A deal could be announced as soon as next week. And the companies are also discussing a price that would exceed the $275 a share offer that Cintas resubmitted in December. I think another thing that's really interesting to point out here, a final decision hasn't been made. Talks could obviously fall through. But Cintas has been chasing this company since 2022.
That's wild.
Could be a really long time coming. We'll see.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.